I know that he's been laddering more as Protoss, but I think he's still working on his PvP. Like, he's still working on his, like, currently, if I'm not mistaken, Clem's weakest matchup with this Protoss is PvP. It's a matchup that he's currently working on. I know that's the case, but I don't believe he's made the full switch yet. As here we go, we're getting to our next game. We're getting into our fresh best of 5 for the grand finals of Sparkling Tuna Cup number 104. And spawning in the bottom hand corner of Last Fantasy, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran for Shopify. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top side of Last Fantasy, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Streamer Zone. It is NightMare. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we jump into our Terran versus Protoss grand finals. And ByuN is opening up CC first. Does go CC first. He throws down the production further back to try to fake just to try to make it look like he isn't here. But NightMare does go further in. NightMare does confirm. Now, because of the production setup here, we have seen Protoss players poke in, go up the ramp, and they pull away before actually confirming, and they miss the scout. So ByuN was being cheeky. He's like, leave me alone. Get out of here. I was like, no, your door's open. So NightMare, he confirms the greed of ByuN. He's aware. He also confirms his location. True. As he's back. Oh, he's back. He wants the SCV. He wants it. Oh, the SCV does take some extra hits and will pull away. Again, NightMare just being as annoying as possible. Is able to do so just because it was CC first. ByuN, he won't lose anything, but again, some denied mining. NightMare does pull away. Does pull out. Jesus. ByuN, who was hoping to try to get a stray shot off, wasn't quite able to. And we have our take of choice, that Twilight Council opener out of NightMare. So nothing fancy here. We're not going Robo or Stargate, or even a 2-gate opener. No. Just Twilight Council to most likely blink. On smaller maps, it is more viable to open up Charge, for example. I don't think Last Fantasy quite is one of those maps, though. So from here, we have the second Rax on the way. That is a second Rax before Starport. Okay. Now, earlier we were discussing how ByuN, he isn't really one that goes 2-base all-in, and he never did go for a 2-base all-in against Geralt, but this is indicative of something more aggressive here. We're expecting a third Rax before the Starport. If we see a third Rax, this does scream 2-base all-in. And what's scary is so far it's hit. Oh. And Epsay trading some Marines. And they do pick up a decent chunk of them. One more shot. Oh my god. As they take each other out. eBay's on the way for +1. And ByuN is being hyper aggressive. So what ByuN's doing here is he's delaying his Starport. He delays the Starport. He even delays that third Rax in favor of what? In favor of an earlier +1 and stim timing. With this, ByuN, he can pull the boys. We're working towards stim, combat shields, +1. This is all going to kick in at around the same time, and it's going to hit quite hard. It's going to hit very hard. Now, NightMare, he has a piece of the puzzle. He did see the second Rax, so that is a sign. That is a sign. That is a tell. Hallucination, sorry, the Observer goes in, and NightMare, he confirms the 3-Rax setup. He knows. He's now aware of how hyper-aggressive ByuN is being. He confirms the eBay, he confirms the +1. And NightMare, he has to be proactive here. He's on how many gateways? 4. Oh my god, Jesus. Talking about proactive, he's going for 4-gate blink. And he might just be able to break ByuN. Now, ByuN, he's relying on 1 tank. Ooh. Observer goes down. He has 1 tank in between the bases. NightMare delaying his third in favor of a 4-gate setup. He's diving on the tank. Does dive in. Tank goes down. And that was the only tank. That was the only tank. NightMare, he can just reign supreme in the main base. Boys are being pulled. Second tank should be targeted. Ooh, does fall just barely. He needs a warp in. He needs one more warp in here. He's gonna be forced back, but he sniped 2 tanks. He can just keep going. He can just keep going. And he should be able to break ByuN before this all kicks in. Before Stim, before +1. Speaking of, he can deny Stim. One more volley. He gets it. Stim goes down. Stim goes down. The boys are being pulled. More SCVs gonna be falling. 1 tank does arrive. And now there's 1 tank in the main. NightMare can just rotate over towards the natural. Going for another warp in. And NightMare, he is overwhelming. He's so close to just breaking ByuN. Takes down the bunker. He doesn't have to worry about Stim. Dives on the tank once again. And just ensuring that there are just no tanks for ByuN. He has no pushing power. Now NightMare expands, gets a 3rd. And he can just keep warping in. He can just keep going and keep bullying ByuN. It's being bullied back. As ByuN, he might be able to hold on here and take down some of these stalkers, but again, that's going to be 11 SCV kills. Ay, ay, ay. So the warp in. It's a bit of a messier engage here from NightMare, but he does get high ground vision. There we go. Finally takes down the tank. Messier fight. But he can still just keep pushing and still keep going. And Stim was never rebuilt, by the way. Was never remade. Now we get the now we get the tech labs on the way. But this is just such a long, extended period of time where we don't have to worry about Stim. 2 more Raxes. ByuN, again, he's already lost so much steam. So much momentum. Diving on the tank. Nice juggling, nice control. Down to 4 Marines. 4 Marines. GG gets called. And NightMare, he will take game number 1. He will take a lead in the series. GG. Whew. GG, well played. NightMare, he was able to scout, he was able to confirm that ByuN was setting up for a 2-base all-in. The downside, of course, is that he was delaying his racks, delaying his marine production in favor of +1, in favor of that early eBay for that +1 timing. And NightMare, he punished. I thought he was just going 3-gate blink to apply pressure, but no, he doubled down. He went 4-gate blink stalker to just straight up kill ByuN and was able to pull it off. GG. GG, well played. NightMare takes a lead. Does take a lead. And we'll see if we can extend that lead. Again, this is partly also because of the map, because of the build choice as well. NightMare was able to pop off against ByuN. I don't expect to see that here, as up next we're loading into Maganatha. Largest map in the map pool. It's pretty big. And we expect to see something more standard out of ByuN this time. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Maganatha, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran representing Shopify Rebellion down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back. We'll see if he can make a series out of this. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Protoss, the Blue Protoss representing Streamer Zone, leading the series 1-0. It is NightMare. Go. Hi. As ByuN, he does move out early on with the initial SCV. Does skirt around the edge, and I believe the goal here is to avoid the Probe Scout and to come in for an eBay block at the natural. Otherwise, there is a build where you can throw down a Rax behind the mineral line and go for a proxy Rax into bunker. But nah, it's going for the eBay. Going for the delay. Now, the longer it takes for NightMare to check the natural, the higher chance that he just has to expand to the 3rd location instead. NightMare gets across the map. The eBay is almost done. And ByuN, he will have a very nice start to game 2. You can see ByuN is in position to block the third. He's gambling a little bit here. Oh, NightMare, he will make the Zealot, and he will not expand elsewhere. So this is going to be a very delayed expansion for NightMare. Essentially, he does decide that he will not expand to the third. He doesn't want to play ByuN's game. But it is going to be brutal here, as he is heavily delayed. ByuN back at home, expanding. Getting his natural. So Rax expand out of ByuN. NightMare's early game is going to be disrupted. Let's get finally expand. Gets his Nexus. On the way behind this ByuN Angel Zone 1-1-1 setup. I'm assuming he's not going to go for a second and third Rax again. That would be crazy. Yeah, there we go. 1-1-1 standard follow-up here out of ByuN. He's not going for any kind of crazy 2-base all-in, or at least there's no indication of that yet. From here, he can go into Mind Drops, he can go into Banshee Harass, Raven Harass. All ways to keep NightMare busy across the map. Zealot does go down. NightMare gets a full scout, does confirm the starport. NightMare is aware. He's at least aware of what's happening. Behind this, throwing down extra gateways, I believe 3 gate. Yeah, 3 gate blink out of NightMare. There's no reason to go for a 4th gateway yet. Not here in game 2. So instead, a much safer start here from NightMare as we settle into a longer game. ByuN is attempting to scout. 3rd base is now being taken. Behind this, add-on swap into Raven, not Banshee Harass, so not a big commitment. Instead, going to Ravens, into add-on swap, into Stim, into ByuN. Again, despite the rise in popularity of mech as of late, ByuN, he's not really one to play mech against Protoss. He does play mech against Zerg, for sure, but against Protoss, it's not really ByuN's style. We have our Robo just before the 3rd base, just now taking our gases. NightMare settling in. From here, he has a choice to make. NightMare could work towards Charge +1 into Storm, or it could still actually go into Colossus. So we'll see which one NightMare embraces. Do we go for the Bay, or do we go for the Temple Archives? That's going to be a lot of gateways. Jesus. We have a 5 gateway explosion here, getting up to 8. 8 gateways at NightMare. No Forge. No. No Forge, no +1. Not yet. You have my attention. Okay, I'm just settling in. Getting ready for a drop play, waiting for Stim. Wow, that's a lot more gateways than I'm used to seeing at this kind of game state for NightMare. You'll have access to a lot of Zealots, a lot of Charge Zealots. Still no forge. Staying on 3 gases. And we're waiting for the War Prism at this point. There's the 3rd CC, and we have the splash damage. It's not going to be Storm, it's going to be the Bay. Okay, Bay into Colossus. ByuN is expanding. Here's the first move out. It's time to warp in. You're warping in as many zealots as he can. NightMare, he can try to slow this down. Oh. He's getting caught out. NightMare, he has to back off. Pulls away, brutal tank shot. Tanks, they do graze the zealots. At the same time, auto shot across the map. 4 probes do go down. 4, 5, late reaction. 6 probe kills. And ByuN pulls away. He pulls away. He doesn't want to try to push in. Saw the army, saw the setup, and gets some nice damage. Get 6 probes. ByuN is rotating. Observer will spot this. NightMare, he's aware of the rotation. He's setting up for a surround. And he's going for it. Tanks are unsieged. Yeah, brutal pickoffs here as every single tank is going to go down. Not a single siege. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, beautiful surround at NightMare. And ByuN has to get the hell out of here. Oh, with his bio reinforcements though. Can stand his ground. But again, without those tanks, he should not be able to break the base. Gets another Stalker. Stalkers, nice force shields once again. ByuN does kite back, the Colossus has arrived, and NightMare holds. Say that it's a decent chunk of Marauders. ByuN, he wants to force the issue. Gets a Colossus, I'm not sure he can. Finally pulling away. Pulls away, Raven takes a lot of hits. Still quite intense. I mean, he lost 6 Stalkers. 6 Stalkers. ByuN is still not pulling back. He's still just rattling across the map. He's not letting up. At the same time, NightMare, he does get across the map as well. Ideally, he wants ByuN to turn around. Oh. ByuN catching a Stalker, going for the Colossus. Goes to the dive. He gets 1. Yeah, barely gets 1. Shield barrier too far behind, too far back, and ByuN can just keep on pushing. Zealots are popping off across the map, but they're being dealt with. And ByuN, he goes to the Nexus, takes down the 3rd. And these losses are brutal. NightMare, he just can't really build up. Ideally, he wants to preserve the Colossus, preserve the Stalkers to keep up with ByuN, but that just hasn't been happening. ByuN's been trading too well. He's been just trading too well. Catching Colossus, Stalkers, the expansion, of course. ByuN takes the lead. And what's ByuN waiting for? Ghosts. There's some Ghosts on the way. EMP is going to be available. He's trickling in a couple of Vikings as well to help deal with the Colossus. And ByuN is in the driver's seat. Now, how can NightMare come back in this game? He's going to be heavily reliant on either a Zealot drop or a Zealot run by. Something to just keep ByuN distracted, or ideally catch ByuN as he moves out. You know, ideally ByuN, he's halfway across the map, a Zealot run by comes in, and then ByuN, he's distracted, he pulls back home, and it gives NightMare more time. But NightMare, he needs something like that, whether it's Zealot run bys, just drop play, War Prism harass. We do have a fake Prism moving out, so let's go. There is no real War Prism, so that makes sense. There's nothing for NightMare to use. Prism moves in. ByuN, he keeps on pushing. Does distract some of the reinforcements at least. Does distract the production, but ByuN is still being active. Storm is now done. Okay, we got 3 Templar. Getting up to 4. 4 High Templar. We got a couple of Storms. They'll run around the right-hand side. ByuN, he has a defensive army. He's ready for the run-bys. And ByuN is going to be the first to max out. And again, he's been playing safe. We have sensor towers. We have left some production back at home. Get a decent storm. The others are forced out. Again, every storm is so precious here for NightMare. It's going to be the one thing keeping the army at bay are the storms. There's only 3 ghosts. Ghost count is quite low for ByuN. Just now making 4 ghosts. Which means, sure, ByuN is maxed, but he's not really doing much with the army yet. Waiting for more ghosts, waiting for the upgrades. This is allowing NightMare to slowly catch back up. That supply disparity isn't as large as it used to be. Now NightMare's only down by 20 supply. Oh, the Rock's knocked down. Yeah, Zelt's getting caught out. Nice catch here by ByuN. Catching out a wave of charge lots. Nice storm. Kills his own observer, unfortunately, but nice storm nonetheless. So taking up into Liberators, Fusion Core's on the way. That will be for Liberator range. And again, NightMare, he's catching up with that army. Oh, EMP lands, gets 3 High Templar. But there's still plenty of Templar. Yeah, plenty more left over. Nice storms. Storms that do connect. NightMare, he's got 5 High Templar in total. Oof. EMP does graze the army, does get 2 Templar. But there's still a couple of storms left. Nice movement. Zones away the Vikings. But just 1 Colossus remains. Oof. Once again, a brutal tower gets knocked down. Zones away some of those Zealots. Loving ByuN's use of the terrain. And he will snipe the final Colossus. No Colossus left. But there's only 1 Templar. Just 1 High Templar remaining. He still has the storm. And NightMare jumping forward. Does blink in. EMP goes off. Templar still does avoid it. And NightMare holds. Oof. NightMare, he does hold on. He's got 1 storm. And the problem here is that NightMare, he bleeds out so much supply. ByuN is still rallying. EMP connects. No storms. That's all NightMare had. And no more storms. He does overextend. He will lose everything. The High Templar, the Stalkers. 3 Stalkers barely get away. Oh, this entire time only 1 Robo. That is brutal. 2nd Robo just now in production. And ByuN is going to be the first to rebuild. He's rebuilding, remaxing. Moving in once again. NightMare, he needs more time. It's not going to happen. NightMare, he has limited storms. And that's been the one thing keeping him in this game. Has been the storms. With that, ByuN, he should overrun here. Takes down the base. Nexus goes down. 8 probes. NightMare trying to re-expand. Trying to hang in there. But this is one of those game states where the soup is not lying. The soup is not lying. Okay, if NightMare is able to land some of these storms, maybe. Maybe. Ooh, as the mineral line gets caught. Now ByuN knows. And now he's aware. There's a cancel. Yeah, ByuN still being active, dropping into the main base. And ensuring there is no expansion. And he's just starving NightMare out. Just pulling him apart at this point, and ByuN, he can just push into the fourth. That's still a little high Templar there. Jesus. It's 5 Templar at the fourth. EMP pops off on the Colossus. And now he's stepping in. And now he's diving forward. Takes down one, takes down the other Colossus. There are limited storms, EMP connects. And with that, ByuN, he finally breaks through. That was the final main army. GG gets called, and ByuN ties up the series. We have a back and forth. GG. Whew, GG, well played. Again, it was such an aggressive game here out of ByuN. Once he got the ball rolling, even with his first push across the map, he actually traded quite well against the Stalkers, which is why he could keep pushing. He could keep on going, he maintained his position, and NightMare, he just had no room to breathe this game. He had a really hard time maintaining his third, his fourth, his fifth base. He eventually maxed out, but again, it was only temporary. He couldn't really sustain himself against ByuN. The losses were just too much. And NightMare never stabilized. He never stabilized. Not on Maganatha. With that GG, we'll play it again. This is where ByuN hits his stride. This is where he's at his best. When he's able to get a secure 3-base economy and just be hyper aggressive and in the face of the Protoss. Just constantly trading, constantly just going back and forth. And coming out ahead. And here we go. We're getting into game 3 and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Pylon. We have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran representing Shopify, tying up the series and making a back and forth out of this. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Terran player. The blue Terran, we have the South Korean Terran representing Streamer Zone. It is NightMare. We go. Why does ByuN eventually cut out tanks out of his army in that game? That is the norm when it comes to the meta. The reason for this is tanks, they do get outscaled as the game goes on. Oh, hello. As we have a proxy. But in PvT, charge ults and a gateway heavy composition is very meta. It's very standard when it comes to what the Protoss is building up. And having a stationary unit like a tank does really struggle. It's very inefficient, unfortunately. It's very inefficient against a very charge heavy composition, which is why typically you want to be switching into either just purely bio with ghost support or bio with Widowmine support. Very often you actually see Terran players eventually just lift their factory and just use it like an overlord. They just use it like an overlord and you just commit to just mass bio ghost play instead. To keep up that momentum to be in the face. There are some styles where you can stay with tank with a tank heavy composition. Typically that's mech, like mech here on Pylon. If you watch Clem, if you watch Clem and Cure, there are some mech builds where you can stay on a very tank heavy composition and push out with like 15 tanks. So it's crazy, specifically on Pylon. But against Zealot heavy styles, you do want to get out of tanks, especially if you want to be like hyper aggressive and be in the face of your opponent. Meanwhile, we have 2-Rack Reaper. 2-Rack Reaper, NightMare, he scouts everything. He scouts, he's fully aware as to what's going on. As ByuN throws it down in the center of the map. But yeah, getting out of tanks and cutting tanks isn't exclusive to ByuN. It's just typical amongst Terran players. They have their place in the early game. Like for 2-base all-ins, you can get up to like 3, 4, 5 tanks. You pull the boys and you just commit. So tanks, they have their place when it comes to all-ins. So now Reapers, they do poke in. So far, the shield battery is ready. Again, NightMare, he's scouted the proxy. ByuN, he does pull back, and ByuN is transitioning out of this. So a delayed CC out of ByuN. This is a shaky start. Honestly, 2x Reaper, this wasn't worth it. This wasn't really worth it here. ByuN has to float back, now get his factory, now get his late expansion, and he's going to have to stumble his way into a longer game. Now, do you see what I see? I see a third Rax before the starport. We spoke about this in Game 1, but going into this Rax, Game 1, which was on Last Fantasy, if you recall, but going for this Rax heavy style before the starport is indicative of early stim. There we go, early stim, early combat shields, early marine production. This screams 2-base all-in, where we should be building up to around 3 tanks. It's going to be around 3. Oh, never mind. Add-on swap here for combat shields. Okay. So again, it is putting a lot of priority, a lot of emphasis on these bio upgrades. Going for the add-on swap. That's going to be the eBay as well. eBay before starport. If you remember, this is almost the exact same setup that we saw on Last Fantasy. And NightMare, it's going to be on him to recognize what's going on. Now, NightMare, he knows that he had an edge at the start of this game. He's throwing down 2 more gateways. I wouldn't be opposed to him throwing down a 4th gateway. But right now, he has 3-gate blink. So 3-gate blink out of NightMare. I was thinking the splash should be useful, but Chargel's just going to hold them too fast. Exactly, for sure. But this early on in the game, like, there are no charge lots, right? Like, blink is a factor, and eventually charge comes into play, but it takes a while for you to mass up a lot of zealots. So that's why here, like in the earlier game state, tanks, they have their place. We have a 2nd, and as we mentioned, we should be expecting a 3rd tank as well, and this is going to be a brutal move out from ByuN. It's going to hit quite hard. It's going to hit quite hard. Ooh, do you see what I see? That is a 4th gateway. Let's go. 4-gate blink. So 4-gate blink Stalker out of NightMare. If you were here for Game 1, this is a very similar setup. I believe this is a later 4th gateway, so it's going to be later aggression out of NightMare. But we'll see if he can break ByuN, as ByuN, he already has 2 tanks. Oof. Yeah, 2nd tank has arrived. With 4-gate blink. Oh, Jesus, did I say 4-gate? He's getting up to 6. Ay. So 6-gate setup here on 2 bases. No expansion out of NightMare. So what we're getting here is 2-base Protoss versus 2-base Terran. Let's go. Now, NightMare's opener here, his build, I believe is a response to ByuN. He sees that ByuN is going for an all-in, so NightMare, he refuses to expand, refuses to make probes. I say that. He's getting a later expansion. That is an expansion after the Bay, so we will have early Colossus. Now, if NightMare can buy enough time for the Colossus will shut this down. Colossus on the way. Colossus is on the way. Here comes the move outs. Again, we're expecting... Oh, that is a hidden starport. Okay. Medevacs are on the way, which means ByuN, he might not go for the all-in. He might expand instead. Typically, all-ins are without the starport. You hit without the starport, you hit with just more Marines, more tanks. Observer goes in. The Observer is looking for the starport, looking for anything else. As ByuN, he is not making any more tanks to afford the Medevacs. Getting to his Medevacs. And again, there's a higher chance here that ByuN may just look to expand. There it is. 3rd CC. 3rd CC is on the way. It's not a 2-base all-in. There's the expansion. And what that means is that NightMare's late 3rd base is now less than ideal. Right? NightMare, he could have taken a faster expansion. But you could argue that this reaction from ByuN was because NightMare wasn't expanding. True. So there's been a lot of back and forth. there's been a lot of back and forth here. NightMare staying on 2 bases longer because he felt like aggression was coming his way. ByuN realizing that, so he expands. And after the intense early game, we might just slow things down and just macro out of this. As NightMare doesn't want to push into the tanks. And ByuN is taking into Ghost. We have Ghost on the way, we have Dark Shrine on the way for DTs. Both players are taking up and both players are expanding. Whew, okay. Again, NightMare, he's waiting for ByuN to push into him, but ByuN isn't pushing. ByuN isn't pushing, he's expanding. So it was a very tense, 8 minutes? But in the end, the armies, they kind of bounced off each other, and now we're building up. Okay. ByuN is getting his 3rd, NightMare throws out his 4th. Calming down. ByuN will have plenty of ghosts. NightMare, he has yet to take up into Storm, going for earlier disruptors. Double Robo, double disruptor production. Okay. It's this is a lot more old school. Very old school. In the meta of High Templar and Storm and NG Overcharge, you're telling me you're not making any High Templar. Okay. I see you. That's the NightMare. Again, this follow-up style out of NightMare, going for faster disruptors, was a little more prevalent a couple of years ago. Even just a year ago. True. ByuN is pushing through the center. Does move out. Disruptors are ready. We're holding onto that Nova. Got any scans he sees? He knows. He's aware of the disruptors. He has to be so careful. Stims in. Tanks stay zoning away the disruptors. Nice EMPs. Oh, EMPs, they cover everything. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, brutal EMPs. And those tanks are doing so much in the back line. Disruptor goes down. NightMare caught in a very awkward position. He's just pinned at his 3rd. Nova goes up. Massive connection. Nova does connect. But both robos go down. Brutal pickoffs. At the same time, Zelts, they get across the map. They're getting to the natural, getting to the 3rd base. SCVs are falling. GT's diving on the tanks. Where are the scans? Oh, does have the EMP. Cranky does have those EMPs. Zeld in hold position. Still very tense. There are 3 disruptors left. Remember, NightMare, he lost both robos, so he cannot replace his army. What you see is what you get in terms of disruptors. 1 tank remaining. NightMare looking for one of those Novas. EMP goes off. Nice time on the disruptor. One disruptor goes down. Another EMP on the disruptors. Decent Nova. But he's stimming in. Yeah, he's stimming in. Where are the Zealots? Yeah, there's no support. No support left. Colossus goes down. The Zealots as well. And remember, there are no backup Colossi. There's no more splash damage, no more disruptors. And ByuN, he has done it. He has broken the back of NightMare. Breaks on through. And again, he had beautiful positioning here outside of the 3rd base. In between the bases, GG gets called. And ByuN, he will take a lead in the series at 2-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. A very, very tense game 3 here on ByuN. Very tense for both players. Both players, they refused to expand. They were playing on 2 base for a lot of that game, then slowly broke out and took their 3rd bases. We had NightMare going for an interesting style, going Colossus into double robo disruptor, which again is a lot more old school, or it's something that we don't really see nowadays. Has potential for sure. But ByuN was able to wedge himself in between the bases. His tanks were able to siege up in between the 3rd and the natural, and you saw that NightMare, he was kind of penned in. He could not actually engage with the army. He was being zoned away by the tanks. The tanks, they basically zoned the army to the 3rd base, and the natural was wide open. Natural was wide open. ByuN went for the dive. Took care of the Robos. GG. GG, well played with that. NightMare, he was outpositioned, and now we're getting into game 4. And we'll see if NightMare can force the ace match. One game, one more game is all that ByuN needs to claim the series. Otherwise, NightMare can try to force game 5. We'll see. The pressure is on. Pressure is on as we're loading into Persephone. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Persephone, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran representing Shopify, leading the series 2-1. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the Blue Protoss representing Streamer Zone. It is NightMare. We go. NightMare, he was able to just send it right down mid. Wedge himself in between the natural and the third, and that is something that is a little bit more unique to Pylon. We didn't really get to discuss it too much, but Pylon is one of the smaller, if not the smallest map in the map pool. So moving out and being aggressive like that, it's a little more unforgiving for the defending player if they don't scout the move out, if they don't slow you down. Meanwhile, double gas opener out of ByuN as we load into Persephone. Welcome, welcome on all. Persephone is an interesting map as well. It's a little bit more middle of the road, I would say. Not as macro-oriented as Tokamak, not as large as Maganatha, not as small as Pylon. The bases are spread out, and because of that, we do often see a lot of late game on Tokamak if we can get that far. But honestly, NightMare and ByuN have been very aggressive. They've been very aggressive, very in each other's faces. We have had instances where players have maxed out, but by no means have we gotten to the late game. Like, for example, on Maganatha, NightMare, he maxed out, that is true, but he was stuck in a very inefficient army. He was stuck in a very gateway-heavy army, and he was just being outscaled by ByuN. So we haven't gone into, like, proper late game with, you know, the Protoss player getting to a death ball of an army, with the Protoss player just embracing a larger economy and being able to build up a bank. That hasn't happened yet. ByuN hasn't let that happen. Neither has NightMare. As they've both been very active. ByuN moves out. Behind this, remember, double gas opener. Double gas means faster factory, means a delayed CC. NightMare going for his Twilight Council. Twilight Council opener out of NightMare. Sharking around, does catch the Adept, not bad. We'll force a recall. Behind this initial zone at 1-1-1. Remember the last game we did see a second and third racks before starport. Here just straight up 1-1-1 into drop play. From here we can go into Widowmine drop. We can follow this up with Cloak Banshee, with Raven Harass. We'll see where the tech labs are thrown down. Tech lab on the factory. It's not going to be any Widow Mines actually. Okay. Interesting. Opening up early Cyclone. Got my attention. Reaper Hellion on one side. We have a Marine drop towards the left. Remember, no Widow Mine. Just early Cyclone. NightMare set fire, getting up to 2 gates. 2 gate blink into a third. Quite greedy here from NightMare. The probe goes down. Yeah, but very greedy. You can see NightMare is banking up 500 minerals. Oh, heavy delay on the expansion. NightMare, he wanted to have a Nexus already. But the Nexus is delayed by the Reaper Hellion, so nice moves here by ByuN. Late third base out of NightMare. he's only on 2 gateways, so he can be punished. Here comes the Cyclone drop. Reaper Hellion confirms that there is an expansion. Drop into the main. NightMare, he's ready for it. Does have units in position. And ByuN's harass continues. So drop on the left, a Raven on the right. From here, we're expecting ByuN to expand. We're going to be expecting a 3rd CC momentarily. So we see the add-on swap. Again, just 2 tanks. And ByuN, he's being so patient. I feel like a lesser player would have just gone in with the drop, but no, he's aware that NightMare should be ready, so he's just keeping the drop at bay, waiting for the auto turret, waiting for the Raven. Doesn't want to waste his drop. ByuN does catch a Stalker. Creates our about to kick in. There's that 3rd CC. On location for ByuN. Let's throw down the expansion. Yeah, ByuN, he does push out. At the same time, drop attempts to go into the main base. NightMare, he was ready for it. He's ready for the drop. Not quite ready for the Raven, though. Probes are going down. NightMare, he should be able to clean this up, but that's still going to be 7 probe kills. Yeah, 7, 8, 9, 10 probes going down. Reapers, they go for the dive into the mineral line, and ByuN, he has to get out of here. I feel like, oh, nice tank shots. Tank flow is going off. 13 probes, Jesus. 13 probes going down. Getting up to 14. That's an entire mineral line. With these Elo Warpins, NightMare, he should break out. Gets 1 tank with the Marines. They punish. Oh my god, he takes out every single Stalker. The Stalkers fall. That was well worth of a ByuN. A better trade for the Terran. Yes, ByuN, he will lose everything, but he was going to lose everything anyway. He takes down how many Stalkers? That was 11. 11 Stalkers in total going down. And those were expensive losses for NightMare. He can throw away Zealots, that's fine, but not Stalkers. With that, ByuN, he gains momentum. ByuN takes an economic lead, which shouldn't be happening. Typically, the Protoss player, they want to be up in bases and up in workers. Right now, we're even on bases and down in workers. So NightMare, he's behind. Now, on the one hand, yes, NightMare, he has a worse economy. He has a worse economy. He's in a rough position, but he does have 5 High Templar. So, hey, you can be down 10, 20, 30 army supply, but with a couple of well-placed storms, NightMare, he can pop off. ByuN, he knows that. What's he waiting for? Ghosts. Ghosts are on the way. Waiting for those EMPs. Waiting to have an answer for those High Templar. Scouts a 4th base is a late 4th base for NightMare. Ideally, you want your 4th base as your opponent is getting their 3rd. So again, NightMare's still in a rough position. He does scout the move out. He's aware of the army. He has 8 High Templar spread out. Prism's coming in from behind. He's got 3 High Templar in the Prism. Storm does graze the army. Does snipe 1. It's 1 Templar. Prism from behind. Here come the Storms. And he can't escape. Ooh, brutal mine shot, but the Storms, they completely shut down the army. Yeah, Storms, they connect. And ByuN has to get the hell out of there. Does load up, does pull out. Thankfully, ByuN, he didn't lose too much. He lost one ghost. So he does preserve the ghost army, and he gets out of there. He does pull out. I get a really nice surround at NightMare. We've actually seen that a couple of times here tonight. Just some really nice engagements out of our Protoss. Just trying to make the best out of a bad situation. But bearing in mind that ByuN is still ahead and ByuN is about to max. He's going to be the first player to max out. And NightMare, he's just now getting into his Bay. So later Bay, late second Robo, late Colossus production. Again, everything's delayed just because of the early economic damage. So NightMare, he needs time. And if given time, he does have 2 more Colossus on the way. At the same time, though, ByuN, he already has his Vikings. Vikings are up. 2 tools on the horizon. NightMare gets spotted. Still just posturing. And here comes a move out. And as ByuN moves out, 2-2 will kick in. Nice catch on the Zealots. Curse is saved. We have 2 Eye Templar in that Prism. ByuN's still playing it safe. Fusion Core is on the way. That's going to be for the Liberators. But again, because ByuN is being relatively passive, he's only rotating back and forth, sniping and catching out some harassing units. It tells me that NightMare, hey, now he's up to 8 High Templar. He's got 2 Colossus. He does have a decent army to work with. I can see NightMare taking a fight. Oh no! The Prism goes down with 2 High Templar. That should not have happened. EMP connects. 7 Templar left. ByuN racing back home. The main army does respond. NightMare, he sees the army coming. And who catches who? Oof. EB connect. Catching the tail end of the Zealots. That's a lot of charges going down. But where are the Templar? Now loading up. Nice storm. Storm connects. 2 more coming in. Oof, once again, the Prism gets caught. Who catches who, though, as the Vikings, they also take a lot of damage. NightMare pulls away. And so far, again, he's holding on. So far, so good. He's holding on. Builds up more Templar, building up more Storms. 3-3 is now almost done for ByuN. Storms are coming in. Ooh, brutal pickoff. Prism goes down. The Storms are connecting though. Storms turn back the army. There's no more High Templar with the main force. No Storms yet. At the same time, ByuN pushes across the map. There are defensive Templar, defensive Storms. And NightMare defense. He holds back at home. ByuN gets forced back. Does catch a Templar. Nice pickup. Forces NightMare all the way back home. Does force him back. Yeah, not really doing much with this distraction as he's still at home. Just licking his wounds. We have yet to really get into many Liberators yet. He has yet to begin the upgrade either. But he's got 3-3. 3-3, he's walling up. We have more CCs on the way, more orbitals. Building up into the late game. ByuN has 17 ghosts. Jeez. That's a lot of ghosts. Do we have too many ghosts? Like, I know we have a ghost copy pasta for TvZ. That is true. And EMPs are definitely impactful. How many Vikings? 9 Vikings, 2 more starports. There we go. Now we have the advanced ballistics, limited range. It is missing from ByuN's army. Are those Liberators? EMPs, they pop off. And NightMare, he does end up taking his expansions. NightMare, he has his half of the map. Now, the scary thing here is that, likewise, ByuN, he's also going to get his half as well. It's something about Persephone, but specifically on this map, it's very difficult to take your opponent's bases, and it goes both ways. The base that is most accessible is going to be the gold. The golds, that's what a lot of this will maybe come down to. If both players are able to freely mine out their bases. Cut the map in half. Likewise, NightMare, he is not getting ready for Skytoss as a transition point. He's sticking with purely a ground army. Which is a bit of a concern. Oh. Alright, nice EMPs. Storm does crazy on. We have more High Templar coming in. And ByuN has to back up, has to respect the storms. Pulls away, freeing up supply. Here come the Liberators. Now, when it comes to big power spikes, this is going to be a huge one for ByuN. Typically, a way or a reason why Skytoss is often seen and why we would need a setup for Skytoss is that Liberators, especially in a higher count, typically forces out Tempest. It forces out Tempest, forces out a Skytoss composition, but NightMare isn't ready for that. So I'm very concerned here for NightMare. If ByuN can get into Mass Lib. He's still working on it. Oof. Colossus goes down. Here come the nukes. Nukes towards the top side. One-eyed Templar gets sniped. There's not much to defend. That's going to be 2 bases falling. At least 2 mineral lines. Nice snipe, 2-eyed Templar to fall as well. NightMare is racing over, out of position. He's 2 spread out, and he will lose a mineral line. Nice pick of fear by ByuN. ByuN gets 18 probes, gets a Nexus. And he may just keep pushing and go for another base. Oh yeah, rough fight here for NightMare. ByuN has the more efficient army. Oof. Yeah, brutal losses. And you can see that NightMare, he doesn't want to move with his main army. He doesn't want to give up on the left-hand side. And with that, he will lose an expansion, lose the mineral line, and ByuN can keep pushing. Behind this, more starports, more Liberators. He's getting up to 6 starports. Nice EMP. Nice EMP. More nukes coming out. And how many Liberators are we on? So far, just 3. ByuN is pushing in. Now there are 10 High Templar for NightMare. He has potential with storms if he can bring them forward. There's NightMare. He cannot gain ground here. He cannot push in. Oh, that was going up. Don't quite connect. As we have, my apologies, we have 6 more Jesus. We're getting up to what, 9 starports? Getting into BC. We're going for the ultra late game. Okay, we're just skipping mass lib. With these starports, we should be seeing tech labs. We're seeing, yep, there we go, mass tech lab. This is for a mass BC switch here by ByuN. Ay. And again, there's no sky toss for NightMare. There's no Tempest, no setup for nothing. He's stuck on the ground, man. He's stuck on the ground. ByuN will get another expansion. Another Nexus falls. Now, there is a world, if ByuN, if he loses too much too quickly, if he bleeds out too much, NightMare going for the counterattack, he's had enough defending. Pushing bottom right. We'll kill some SCVs. At this point, ByuN can afford to lose them. SCVs are going down. ByuN is racing back home. Does storm the main army, but here come the ghosts. Yeah, and he does catch us out. Yeah, Stalker's falling, Prism as well. ByuN, he defends, he doesn't lose the base. And remember, at this point, we're down to 69 workers, but we have mules. Mules are a big factor. Oof. Keys they pop off, but we do see the Liberators getting sniped. Okay. Does snipe all 3 libs. 3 Liberators go down. A bit of friendly fire. As we have some awkward pathing for ByuN. ByuN, he throws away a ghost, throws away a couple of Marauders, but here comes 5 Liberators at a time. Did I say 5? 7 Liberators at a time. Oof. As we're just brute forcing it. We're going in with Mass Stalker. No detection, the ghost. The ghost, they're getting free damage in the middle. The ghosts are popping. There we go. The ghosts, they're still popping off, by the way. The ghosts are still popping off in the center. There we go. Observers now come. No, the observers, get out of here. Reinforcements come in, and NightMare, he has to get the hell out of here. Bleeds out far too much. Losing all the disruptors. Liberators have arrived. Feels cloak, man. Ah, no. And now it's BC time. Here it is. We have the BC switch. ByuN, he was able to free up some supply, remax with BCs. But they need time. BCs, they take a long time to build. Yo, we need those liberation zones. We need that freedom. Okay, Liberators do set up. And this army from NightMare cannot push in. Again, it's just very gateway heavy. It's a very cheap army. Oh, gets 1 Liberator. Gets 1. And again, he just can't keep up with the efficiency of ByuN. No with Ghost Lib. Not siege like this. If he can catch the army on siege, if he can come in from a different angle, then sure. He could try to outposition ByuN, but ByuN, he's very well set up. And remember, ByuN, his win condition here isn't to actually push across the map. It's to wait for the BCs. It's to wait for the battle cruisers. Do we have any High Templar? Okay, we have 8 Templar. None with the main army. Oh, ByuN going for the gold. We spoke earlier how the gold base is going to be the big kind of like contesting, or the contested base is the gold. Stalkers, they get one of the planetaries. Novas, they don't connect. Yeah, Novas disrupts the target down. ByuN, he can just stem in. Oh, here come the storms. Had Templar that were lagging behind. Storms are coming forward. Another High Templar goes down. NightMare, he is forced back. And NightMare, he's running out of his bank. Again, like, ByuN has just been so efficient with his army. NightMare, he's running out of money. He's down to a less than 1k mineral bank. He has a lot of gas to work with, true. But ByuN has just been more efficient. Nice time on the libs. Gets 1, 2, 3 liberators. BCs are revealed. And BCs will hold their own. Show us the Yamatos! Yeah, as ByuN, he's just going to overrun. He's going to overrun from here. Building up more battle cruisers. We have more BCs on the way. And again, NightMare, he was so tunnel vision this game. Like, he never set up for taking up into anything else. Go base in favor of ByuN. So ByuN, he has a superior economy. ByuN, we're abandoning the army. Calm down. NightMare, he has to go for the counterattack. Here's moving in. So I'm amazed he actually whittled down NightMare's bank. I mean, ByuN's been he's been very efficient with his liberators, with his ghosts. Like, he's just been out trading NightMare for quite some time now. While he's just been getting ready for this. But again, as we mentioned, like, NightMare, he also never really tried to tech out of this either. His goal was, as you can see, his goal was to just brute force the liberators, to go mass stalker, to try to dive under the liberators and focus them down. But he hasn't been able to, just because ByuN's just been hyper defensive. Outside of, like, move outs like this, or drop play, right? Drops, they were sniping bases, they were getting mineral lines. For the most part, ByuN, he was in control of this game. Like, he had, should I say, he was dictating the pace of the game. There we go. Was dictating the pace. As we have another 15 probe kills. NightMare, he was never able to contest the gold. True. Show us the Yamatos. I'm waiting for them to come in. Oh, brutal EMPs. And now we're pushing into a wall of planetaries. Ay, ay, ay. Boys being full to repair. Here come the Yamatos. Gets one. Gets one Yamato. He's holding on to the rest. Yo, making use of the healing pad. Let's go. Making use of the pad. Gets one BC. 3 Yamatos. How many planetaries does he have? 10. Man, we got a wall of planetaries, Pappy. That's what ByuN has. But again, like, ByuN, he wasn't really focusing on knocking down bases. He was going for some drop play, that is true. But for the most part, like, he was turtling up with his liberators. NightMare was pushing into these ramps, into these liberators, into these planetaries. ByuN, he was able to fight on his terms for the most part. And BCs were just knocking down bases, knocking down expansions. We're storming the other. The storms, they tickle the BCs, man. Aye, aye, aye. Oh, one BC gets rallied into the stalkers. One BC gets rallied in. Here comes a teleport. He's going for the dive. He's going for it. Dives on the main army. And ByuN is going for the kill. He's going for the kill here. Going for the throw. GG gets called. And ByuN, he will overwhelm. He will take the series 3-1. Becoming this week's Sparkling Tuna Cup champion. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Congratulations here to ByuN as he does claim the series. Again, a very, very intense series between these two players. 30-minute game, Jesus. I'll be honest, I didn't even feel it. Oh my god. But very intense back and forth. Really, really intense, really aggressive games as well. I loved NightMare's approach for the most part. He was very in the face of ByuN. We never, at no point did we like really slow the game down to a crawl. But at the same time, this also worked against NightMare. We were discussing it when it came to that last game, where NightMare was very aggressive and he was trying to be in the face of ByuN. He was trying to end things as early as he could, trying to push in, trying to break through these siege lines, and in the end, that was hurting him more than anything. And he was never setting up for any kind of further transition. I was harping on it quite a bit to switch into Skytoss, to switch into Tempest, into Carrier, into Storm, into Archon, into Immortal, to switch into something more efficient. Instead, he decided to go Mass Blink Stalker. The goal there is to blink under the Liberators, to break through these positions and to overwhelm. But it wasn't just Liberators, it wasn't just the Bio Army. We had, again, 10 planetaries. Like ByuN, he was fully walled up, fully expecting NightMare to kind of ape into these walls, to ape into these defensive positions. And yeah, with that, ByuN, he just out-traded. Did overwhelm. GG. GG, well played. Very impressive play there by ByuN, popping off with mass BC towards the end. Crazy, papi, crazy. GG. Yeah. GG, well played. Here we go. If Protoss can afford to trade inefficiently against Terran, what is the win condition for Terran? That comment is not applicable to this map. We did mention it a couple of times, but specifically Persephone is a map where it comes down to the gold, in the sense that on some of these other maps, take like Maganatha or Tokamak for example. I think maybe Tokamak is maybe a better example. But on some of these other larger maps, when a Protoss player gains map control, if they gain map control, which you could argue that NightMare definitely had at some points in this game, they can mass expand to the point where they can even take your opponent's expansions as well. They can start to take some of the Terran bases, and with that, take an economic lead, extend that lead, and build up that bank. That is not applicable to Persephone because of the space between one half of the map and the other, between your bases and your opponent's bases. There's like a big delineation, a big separation of that. It is very difficult to take your opponent's bases on Persephone. It's easy to cut the map in half. If you can cut the map in half, then the Terran player will take a lead, because typically the Protoss, they want to be up a base to be even with the Terran, which is why we were talking a lot about the gold, right? The gold base is going to be, in a way, kind of like the big deciding factor. If the Protoss could actually maintain and take the gold, that never happened. NightMare, he was never able to really fight for, contest against the gold base. ByuN took it instead. And again, ByuN never lost any of his own bases, right? Never lost any of them to NightMare. But again, that's also very map specific. Very map specific. But with that, GG. With that, GG, well played. What would map 5 would have been? True, I don't I'm not privy to the vetoes, papi, not privy. Ah. I'm just messaging ByuN. BC's crazy, papi, crazy. Yeah, GG, well played. With that, hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Hope you all had a great time, and congratulations to ByuN for popping off here in the finals. And again, I appreciate that ByuN, he plays a certain style, like, against kind of like the meta. ByuN is asking me who won today's raffle. I was like, Ragnar. It's like, Smudge. ByuN, he always wants to know who won the raffle. Always wants to know. ByuN, he said, he's like, who won? I was like, Ragnar. ByuN's like, question mark. He's like, next time let Kuro spin it, not you. Oh no. Este ByuN, baby, este ByuN. Shaking my head. True, it is rigged. It is rigged. True. It is rigged. I said, well, thank you. Again, as a reminder, this is a weekly tournament. This is a weekly tournament. Every single week we do host a Sparkling Tuna Cup, and we had a solid lineup. What I will say though is that typically this tournament is over the weekend. Typically this event is on Sundays. Specifically though, this week we did have it on a Tuesday because of Maestros of the Game. If you remember, Maestros of the Game is a French tournament. It's a big French tournament that's going on, and it was over the weekend, and we were casting it. We were casting it here on the channel. Because of that event, we did decide to move Tuna Cup to the week instead of the weekend, which is a little bit less than ideal. Because of that, that did impact some of the signups. Quickly switching our scenes over, we can have a look at the bracket together. But as you can see here, when it comes to our signups, it was a lot more Korean heavy than we're used to. Here we have ByuN, we got Rebellion, we got NightMare, Creator as well. Tasia was playing Percival. Typically, we also see players like Skillus, like Showtime, for example, Nicaract, Cristianer, some of the other Polish Protoss players. Typically, we have a little bit more European representation. We had Geralt, like Geralt, he was able to represent at least, but he was lonely. He was we had Lelix as well. True, we had Geralt, we had Lelix. We had a couple of Europeans sprinkled in, but nowhere near as we usually do. So that did impact the signups a little bit, hosting it during the week. But typically it's over the weekend. Typically our tournament is over the weekend, and we have this more like kind of European versus Korean dynamic going on. Typically. But otherwise, hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Hope you all had a great time. Speaking of rescheduling, and speaking of, yeah, the rigged raffle, there you go. Yep. With Ragnar winning the raffle. But quickly checking our schedule, bam, here we go. As you can see, this upcoming weekend, once again, we also have Maestros of the Game. Once again, we are not going to be able to host Tuna Cup on Sunday. Once again, next week, Tuna Cup is going to be on Tuesday. So in 7 days' time, Tuna Cup will be back during the week once again, because we don't want to clash with, you know, these other tournaments. With these other major events, I should say. So just as a bit of a PSA, so next Tuna Cup is also going to be next Tuesday. Otherwise, you can see here we have the rest of our schedule. We're going to be live once again in around at 9 AM KST. That's going to be at 10 AM AST in 10 hours. We're going to be live in 10 hours with Pegasus Cup. Pegasus Cup is another weekly tournament. It's very similar to this one. So we have Sparkling Tuna Cup. This is a little bit of a more Korean / European friendly time. Pegasus Cup is for more of the Americas, for North America, Latin America, and Korea, and some of the D-Gen Europeans. Because it's I think it starts at like 2 AM or something, like 2 AM in the morning in Europe. So Pegasus Cup is in 10 hours. We're going to be covering that, of course, as best we can. And we typically do feature players like ByuN, players like Hero, NightMare, Shin. A lot of the Koreans do wake up early to play in that. And some Europeans stay up late to play in it as well, like MaxPax. MaxPax, he often goes full D-Gen and does stay up late to compete in Pegasus Cup. So that's going to be in 10 hours. In less than 24 hours, we're going to be live with Lil Lee Cup. Lil Lee Cup is another weekly tournament. It's a new weekly tournament open to all players. Once again, Lil Lee Cup is usually on Fridays, but hey, just like us, because of Maestros of the Game, we moved our weekly tournaments to Tuesday. Lil Lee Cup, they're usually on Fridays. Because of Maestros of the Game, they also moved their event to Wednesday instead. So we're both kind of doing the same thing. We're kind of like trying to give the major tournaments, you know, its room. We don't want to clash. We want to cover everything we can, and also host these weeklies without players having to choose between playing in one tournament or playing in the other. So this week, Lil Lee Cup is on Wednesday, which is not usually the case, but has been rescheduled. We have the podcast on Thursday, StarCraft Evolution League Thursday morning. We have Masters of the Game on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So 4 days straight of online action of that major tournament. That's going to be the group stage. We have the OSC mid-season playoffs on Friday, and we have Sea Duckling Open on Saturday as well. So we have a very, very stacked schedule. Again, we cast more StarCraft than any other channel out there. We have all the content, we have all the casting, all the StarCraft. We do what we can. Also, before I forget, if you want to support us here on the Cranky Ducklings, you can do so via Patreon. Actually, I should be refreshing. There we go, should be refreshing stream elements. As you can see on my right, these are the tournaments we host on a regular basis. We have Sea Duckling Open, Sparkling Tuna Cup, and Master Swan Open as well. These are our events that we do host on a regular basis, and they're all funded via Patreon. So if you want to support us on Patreon, you can do so via the link in the chat. Actually, we hit a new goal today, as you can see just under the graphic on the bottom right. Our goal on Patreon was 500 USD a month, and we hit it. We just hit it, 527 USD a month. With that, next month, because we do the payouts are on a monthly basis, next month our tournament is going to have a boosted prize pool. So thank you so much to all of our supporters on Patreon. We do appreciate it. Again, 100% of the money on Patreon goes towards the tournaments, goes towards the prize pools. It all goes into the prize pool. Fun fact, our next goal, which I believe should be at 550 USD a month, is to start paying out admins and start paying out casters. That'll be our next goal after this one. So we're getting there, Pipe. We're getting there. Ideally, one day I would love to grow the prize pool even further to have like a monthly finals, very like Olima League-esque. That'd be the ideal. We're getting there. We're slowly getting there. So again, thank you so much to all the support that we have gotten, whether it's on Twitch, whether it's on Patreon. Thank you. Thank you so much. Do appreciate it. Otherwise, with that, we're wrapping up. With that, we're wrapping up for the day, for the evening. Stick around. I believe there should be some more StarCraft going on. Let's see. Obviously, we're going to be live in 10 hours. What else? Looks like the schedule's a little bit empty. But, a reason for that. Quick PSA. It's not really related to the Cranky Ducklings, but related to StarCraft. Shout out to Wardy. A big shout out to Wardy, because Wardy, he is currently getting married. Today it's his wedding day. Today's his wedding day, so a big shout out to Wardy. Congratulations. Felicidades, felicidades. Wardy, he's getting married. That's also why I believe we should be seeing less Wardy streams this week, just because, you know, he's going through the process of the wedding, of the honeymoon, going and spending time with his significant other as well. So again, congratulations to Wardy. It's always crazy to hear certain personalities kind of, you know, have these kind of big milestones in StarCraft, like having kids, like Dark, you know, having a child, a Trap likewise also having a child as well, people getting married, and yeah, it's crazy, baby, it's crazy. But congratulations to Wardy. Congratulations. Este Wardy. Otherwise, we're wrapping up. Otherwise, we are going to be wrapping up. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to watch more of us, you can check us out over on YouTube, !socials or YouTube in the chat. Our YouTube channel does host all of our VODs. So if you see something that you want to watch, and if you can't watch it live, then YouTube is the place to be, because Twitch no longer supports VODs. Twitch, as of like a couple of months ago, they no longer support VODs. So VODs are eventually deleted on Twitch. So all the VODs are on YouTube. So check it out. Check it out there. Otherwise, thanks for watching, thanks for the support, and we will see you guys next time. We'll see you guys next time. Ciao, papi, ciao. See you tomorrow.